When a girl leaves quietly, without a fight, without raising her voice, understand one thing, the story didn't end there. That's exactly where the real story begins. Pain doesn't always make noise. Some pain sits down inside you very calmly, and that's the pain that changes a person the most. Maybe this happened to you too. You did everything for her. Gave her your time, your attention, tried to understand her. And then one day, she just said, "I don't feel it anymore." You kept wondering, where did I go wrong? Did I do too little? Too much? Here's the truth. The pain you felt in that moment wasn't just about a breakup. It was the sound of an entire world collapsing inside your head. A woman's mind looks simple from the outside, but underneath, it runs deep. She doesn't think in straight lines. She thinks in layers. And a man who only sees the top layer will always live in confusion. I'm not here to teach you tricks today. I'm here to show you the truth that most men feel but never understand. Some of what you're about to hear will sting. Some of it will make you angry. And some of it will finally make sense of things that happened years ago in your own life. A woman's mind doesn't change in a moment. It changes slowly. So slowly that the man standing right in front of her doesn't even notice. When she laughs, she's still thinking. When she goes quiet, she's thinking even more. And her silence is the most dangerous signal of all. People assume women run purely on emotion. That's only half true. The full truth is, they read emotion at a depth most men never reach. She remembers how you spoke far more than what you said. She's not studying your words. She's studying your behavior. Many times you'll think everything's fine, conversations flowing, laughter happening, while somewhere underneath, one question is quietly forming in her mind. Does he actually understand me? The day that question stops finding an answer, her heart starts pulling away. Truth number one, she doesn't leave when it hurts. She leaves when the hurt becomes normal. A woman's attachment doesn't die suddenly. Before it dies, it survives a lot. She talks herself into staying. She blames herself more than once. Maybe I'm overthinking, maybe it's my fault. But the day she stops making excuses for you, that's the final turn in the story. When pain is new, there's still hope. When pain becomes routine, hope dies. This is exactly where most men lose without ever knowing they were fighting. You think she changed for no reason. The truth is, you never actually listen to the reason. Women often don't spell things out, because they assume, if he's really paying attention, he'll understand without me saying it. That single expectation quietly ends more relationships than any argument ever could. Truth number two, she doesn't just love you, she hands you a piece of her identity. This one's harder to hear. When a woman bonds with someone emotionally, she's not just loving them, she's handing over a part of who she is. So when she distances herself, she isn't just leaving a person. She's pulling herself back together. That's why after a breakup she looks strong on the outside while something inside her is completely shattered. And why she never wants to return to the place where she once lost herself. Truth number three, she values emotional safety over love itself. Not physical safety, emotional safety. If she feels she can't be fully herself around you, she starts closing her doors, one by one. She shares less, tells you less. You think she's changing. In reality, she's protecting herself. Truth number four, she pulls away from men who start taking her for granted. Attention feels good at first. But once attention turns into habit, and respect starts fading, her heart grows heavy. She doesn't want to be worshipped. She wants to be understood. Truth number five, she's drawn to men who can hold their own mind. Simple to hear, hard to grasp. Women are pulled toward men who don't fall apart over every little thing, who don't broadcast every fear, who stay busy building their own life. This pull isn't a technique, it comes from inner stability. If your entire world starts revolving around her, she'll slowly step back, because nobody wants to carry someone else's weight. Truth number six, she bonds through feeling, not words. What you say matters less than how you make her feel. If she feels lonely even while standing next to you, 1,000 promises won't fix it. But if she feels peace beside you, even your silence will be enough. Truth number 7. By the time she leaves, she already left in her mind long ago. The goodbye that feels sudden to you is ancient history to her. She already cried, already broke, already talked herself through it. You're only watching the final scene. That's why she doesn't look back. If any anger is rising in you right now, pause. This isn't an attack on anyone. This is about understanding, responsibility, and becoming better. Because the moment you start blaming how women think, you run from your own share of the responsibility. And a man who runs from responsibility can never become safe for anyone. Real power isn't about controlling someone. Real power is about understanding yourself, and that understanding is what turns relationships from obligations into choices. Truth number 8. When she talks less, she's building distance on purpose. She's preparing herself, softening the pain in advance. Ask her, "What's wrong?" And she'll say, "Nothing," and you'll believe her. But that nothing is carrying everything. Women don't just walk out. They detach emotionally first. They talk themselves through it, strengthen themselves quietly, and only once they know they can stand alone do they tell you they're leaving. You break that day. She broke long before it. Truth number 9. Explaining herself, over and over, exhausts her. If she constantly feels like it's her job alone to make you understand, explaining every feeling, translating every hurt into words, it drains her. Eventually she goes quiet. She doesn't want to fight you. She wants to be understood. But understanding shouldn't be a demand. The moment it becomes one, the relationship becomes a weight. Truth number 10. Trust doesn't break in one moment, it erodes. No single massive mistake. Just small things. The time you brushed off what she said. The time you laughed off her fear. The time you said, "Stop overthinking." Every one of those moments pulled her back a little. Trust doesn't break loudly. The connection just quietly gets thinner, and love weakens right along with it. Truth number 11. She notices comparison instantly. Even if you say nothing, do nothing, if your attention is divided, she'll feel it. She doesn't need to feel superior to anyone. She just needs to know her place is secure. The day she senses she's merely an option, her heart starts leaving. Truth number 12. She wants peace, not noise. Drama exhausts her. Uncertainty unsettles her. She wants to be with someone whose presence lets her mind finally rest, somewhere she doesn't have to keep proving she's enough. Truth number 13. She doesn't wait on promises. She watches for change. If you keep apologizing but never actually change, the apology loses its power. Words sound nice in the moment. Experience is what she remembers. A story to understand this. There was a boy who loved deeply. But every time the girl brought something up, he'd dismiss it or turn it into a joke. She told him more than once. "I don't like this." He'd say, "You're overthinking." Slowly, she stopped saying anything at all. He assumed everything was fine. Then one day she simply said, "I don't feel anything anymore." He couldn't understand how everything fell apart while everything had seemed fine. This is exactly where most men get blindsided. Endings don't always come through fights. Sometimes they come through silence, and that kind of ending hurts the most. If you genuinely want to understand this, accept one thing: winning a woman's heart isn't a game. It's a path of understanding, patience, and responsibility, and it's not an easy path, because it demands that you look inward. That's always the hardest place to look. Part 2. Becoming the man she chooses, not the man she fears losing. A woman doesn't connect with a man out of fear, she connects with one out of respect. Where the relationship becomes a choice, not a need. She's drawn to a man who is okay within himself, who can sit alone without running from himself, who doesn't chase someone's presence every second. Because only a man who feels safe within himself can make someone else feel safe. Women pick up almost instantly whether a man wants them or needs them. Wanting carries freedom. Needing carries pressure, and pressure slowly suffocates every relationship it touches. Here's something deeper. A woman isn't afraid of a calm man. She's afraid of a man who's breaking apart inside while smiling on the outside. Because she knows that man could snap at any moment, in anger or in helplessness. And instability makes women feel more unsafe than almost anything else. This is why women pull away from men who get emotional over every small thing, not crying, but taking everything personally, feeling anxious over a delayed reply, feeling ignored the moment he's busy. All of it plants one question in her mind: can this man hold himself together without me? When the answer drifts toward no, the connection weakens. Real strength doesn't perform. Women aren't drawn to displayed strength. They're drawn to real strength, and real strength doesn't make noise. It stays calm. It doesn't try to prove itself. It simply exists. A man constantly trying to prove he's right is, underneath, afraid, and women read fear with remarkable precision. Picture a man absorbed in his own world, his goals, his work, his path. He talks to her, but doesn't orbit her. He wants her, but doesn't grip her. He respects her, but doesn't put her on a pedestal above himself. This kind of man earns space in her heart, because he gives her room to breathe. Now picture the opposite, a man whose entire day depends on her reply, whose mood is dictated by her messages, whose happiness depends on her presence. It feels good at first. Over time, it becomes heavy, because no one is built to carry the full weight of someone else's emotional world. Self-respect, not ego. Women don't respect men who ask for less than they deserve. If you see yourself as small, she won't be able to see you as big. If you're not satisfied with yourself, she won't feel safe with you. This isn't about ego, it's about self-respect. Self-respect doesn't shout. It sets boundaries, and boundaries send a clear signal. This man knows himself. Here's the paradox. A woman is drawn to a man who doesn't have everything to lose, whose life isn't entirely balanced on her, who isn't gripped by the fear of losing her, and so, ironically, doesn't lose her. A man who holds on out of fear eventually loses. A man who stands calm becomes magnetic. Stop and look at your own life for a second. Have you slowly given up your identity for someone? Shut down your hobbies, your goals, your own world piece by piece? If the answer is yes, that's exactly where change needs to start. Because trying to change her never works. Becoming stable within yourself changes everything. It was never about her. The real question was never what she thinks. The real question is what you think about yourself. Most men make this mistake, spending a lifetime trying to understand someone else's mind while never honestly looking at their own. That's where the real weakness begins. Women sense almost immediately when a man is running from himself, hiding his fears, trying to fill an empty space with a relationship. And the moment a relationship becomes a way to fill a void, it becomes a burden. Happiness is a partnership, not a demand. A woman doesn't stay with a man who keeps trying to make her happy. She stays with a man who is okay within himself, who doesn't carry the responsibility of her happiness on his own shoulders. Because happiness was never a demand. It's a partnership. The moment you show up incomplete, she starts feeling responsible for completing you. And responsibility kills love. Picture this, a woman sitting beside a man, saying nothing. Just silence. But silence that carries no weight, no pressure, no fear. Just peace. That's the kind of peace found in very few relationships, and women spend their whole lives quietly looking for exactly that. It doesn't come from words. It comes from a man who is steady within himself. The bitter truth about over-explaining. A woman drifts from a man who explains himself over every little thing, who answers every question out of fear, who rushes to erase every doubt the moment it appears. Because over-explaining usually comes from weak confidence, and a lack of confidence makes women feel unsafe. Trust is built through calm, not through constant justification. Here's the turning point. The day you stop trying to prove yourself to a woman is the day you become real for the first time. And realness is the biggest attraction there is. Women don't want a perfect man. They want a real one who knows his limits, who isn't afraid of his own weaknesses, who falls sometimes but knows how to get back up. What she actually wants. A woman doesn't bond with a man who tries to keep her happy every second. She bonds with a man she can simply be herself around, where she doesn't have to perform, doesn't have to pretend to be strong, where she can say, "I don't feel okay today," and he doesn't rush to fix her. He just sits with her. This is where most men get it wrong. They jump straight to solutions. They try to fix things. But all she ever wanted was to be understood.